What's going on, people? What's going on, people? Welcome back to another show. Welcome back to another episode. Jay Socials here. Touchline Talks. You know what it is. Manchester United 2, Brighton Albion 1. I'm excited. I'm happy. I got a smile on my face, but I'm sure you guys that are used to listening to me by now, you know my points, you know my views, and I got to be honest with you guys. There wasn't much takeaway again from this game. We could talk about the international break. Players are rusty, players are tired. But you know what? I'm a bit positive today because the lineup was a bit different from what we're used to with the double pivot, with Daniel James on the wing. I think Ole was a bit more positive today. Still disappointing not to see Van de Beek come in a lot earlier, a lot sooner. But you know what? Sometimes you can't just keep beating the same drum and beating down the same person. I think the selection for today was kind of optimistic, and I hope that this is showing that Ole is at the point where he needs to start becoming more adaptive, becoming more flexible in his selection. And I was really surprised, and I think we've talked about the man management from Ole, and I know a lot of fans think that he's got the greatest man management. I'm still yet to see it. I think he's got a great man management when it comes to the players that he favors, but when it actually comes to the team as a whole, I'm not really seeing that man management when you got the likes of Tellis, Van der Beek, Cavani, Greenwood for a good portion of the season. A lot of players are just not playing enough games for me to say that, you know what, I think Ole is managing these players the right way. But today kind of seemed like it was a start. It was a start. And maybe this is a turning point for Ole to say, you know what, there is no pressure of winning the league. So maybe now he's at the point, it's like, we're going to finish top four. I might as well, use my cards, be flexible now because that pressure is kind of taken away from him. Obviously, there is still the pressure of the Europa League. He's got to win a trophy. But in terms of the domestic league, I think he's at that point where you got to take a risk. You don't really have that much to lose, especially with Chelsea dropping points this weekend. Leicester City dropped points as well. Second place is us to lose, is Manchester United's to lose. So hopefully we can start seeing a bit more flexibility from Ole. I was okay with the lineup. Obviously, we can always say who should have started. We always have our favorite players that we feel could have started the game. But overall, he was positive, and especially after the stick that Fred got. That's what I got to point out with Ole was. It's nice to see that from a coach. It's nice to see that from Ole. I've been very negative with Ole, you guys know, but sometimes I got to give credit where it's due. And he could have easily gone with the pivot with Fred and McTominay. He could have easily benched Fred and just gone with McTominay and Matic. But he stuck to his guns and he started Fred in that pivot. I know Pogba was part of that pivot as well. But at the same time, Pogba had a bit of freedom to move around. So the way I saw the whole process is that Fred was actually the main guy there. So it's great to see that he has that confidence in Fred. This was a game that Fred has kind of recovered his confidence because let's face it, after that last game, the entire internet, every United fan was just on Fred's neck. And whether it was through racism, criticism that was deserved, criticism that wasn't deserved, Fred got it all. Fred got it all. So for him to start the game today, and he had a decent game. Obviously, he made a few mistakes, just like Pogba made a few mistakes today. Bruno made a few mistakes. I can go across the entire team. You look at the goal that we conceded, Lindelof, what was Lindelof doing? What was Wan-Bissaka doing? So I can say that everyone made mistakes today, but overall, it was a decent performance. It was a great turnaround for the second half. And, it's one of those, right? I think we're at the point as a fan base, I'm still not in, I still don't want Ole to get a new contract just yet. I feel like he needs to deliver the Europa League. If he doesn't deliver the Europa League, then that's questions. We can have a debate of, what should he be? Should he be? Should he see out his contract? I know a lot of people are saying, what, let him see out his contract for one more season and then go. You know what? I'm okay for that. I'm okay for that. If you want to say, what, let's not renew his contract right now for another 3 seasons. He's got a contract. He's got 1 year left in his contract. Let's see it out. And maybe, who knows? And I think for people who are Ole out, next season is going to be that defining moment. Next season, financial fair play isn't going to be there anymore. Teams have gotten used to COVID. The Euros would have happened, so teams would have seen a bit more talent come into play. Teams are going to be spending next season. So, in terms of who are Ole in and Ole out, I think next season is the season to judge Ole on, in terms of, should he be getting a new contract, or should he be, should we show him the door? So for me, that's how I kind of look at it. I think Ole has done enough, and I think Ole deserves to leave after the season. But people might argue with me and say, you know what, we're second in the league, especially how we started off the season was awful. And we've managed to almost secure second place. So we can kind of there is argument that goes both ways, and we can kind of give everyone the benefit of the doubt and say, let's keep Ole in for one more season. But I think after next season, we've got to make that decision as a board, as a club, as fans. Should Ole be given a new contract? But I still believe that it is extremely too early to be offering Ole a contract. Is extremely too early. I think Mason Greenwood today was definitely. We've been talking about this. For those of you that have been watching, we've been talking about Mason Greenwood for a while, and I think he's been a catalyst for the team as of late. I know Ole has had his favorites, has had times whereby he's taken Greenwood off, but I was happy to see that he took Cavani off for the first time. Rashford came off. Some fans might argue that it was because maybe Cavani wasn't 100% fit, Rashford wasn't 100% fit, but either way, Ole did not look to Greenwood to come off. He actually kept Greenwood on, and we saw the results. Now, what a nice header from him. I believe that's his first career, senior career header that he scored. And he kind of talked about that in the presser, that he's been learning from Cavani. Ole even confirmed that as well, that he's been learning from Cavani. So it's great to see Greenwood, develop a bit more. Because I was worried for Greenwood for a while there, not because I don't think he's a talent or that he can fulfill the shoes of a number 9 at Manchester United. I just don't feel that he's getting the proper training, the proper, development that the likes of Phil Foden is getting at Man City, Hudson-Odoi at Chelsea, and arguably Saka at Arsenal. You know what I mean? I know Arsenal is not doing so well, but you can kind of see that Saka is getting the game time that he needs to develop. Arteta seems to have tactics that work for players, and he's getting the best out of Saka. So because of that, I can say that Saka is having a better development plan than Greenwood. But overall, I think Greenwood was man of the match today. It was nice to see Pogba back. Very refreshing. Bruno does what Bruno does. He's not gonna be there for 90 minutes like KDB at City. For all you guys out there that want to compare KDB and Bruno, I don't think there is a comparison. KDB is a player that is there for 90 minutes of the game. He's always trying things. People might say Bruno is always trying things, but for the most part, Bruno is just kind of lost for 90 minutes. Sorry, not 90 minutes, but when you look at his overall gameplay, for 80 minutes of the game, he's really nowhere to be found. But he pops up at the crucial time, and that's what you need from players like Bruno. He's an impact player. He had that nice run. He could have easily passed it to Rashford. He timed his run. Rashford timed his run as well. and the pass was made at the right time. Great decision from Rashford to to get the ball on the far post corner. So it was a great goal overall. Always happy to see Rashford on the scoreboard as well. He's a hard worker. I just hope that his man management is handled a bit better. People had talked about how, we're comparing him now to the likes of Michael Owen in terms of his career and just playing through injuries and injuries and injuries. And I hope that Rashford doesn't kind of burn himself out, whereby by 26 years old, he's done. He's done at the top level. I just hope that he can, he's able to manage himself a lot better, able to say no to certain games and kind of kick on from there. And speaking of injuries, Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck is, you know, he's one of those players that I feel really sorry for, and I just feel like he's an example of what injuries can do to a player's career. And I think Danny Welbeck is that player that, he was just dealt the wrong card. He was just dealt the wrong card in the sense of he just, like imagine if Danny Welbeck was actually healthy, actually fit, was able to play at least 80% of the season. He could probably still be at Manchester United. We could argue if he's good enough for Manchester United or not. Hindsight is, it is what it is. But I remember when he first broke out on the scene, I always knew that there was just something about Danny Welbeck that was just good. I just knew he had the technique, he had the skills, he had the finish, but just couldn't be fit enough. But he's still showing it. When he went to Arsenal, he did his thing. And now at Brighton, he's doing his thing now. So I had to shout out to Danny Welbeck. I like to see ex-Manchester United Youth Academy players do well, even though they don't necessarily succeed at the club. It's really nice to see them do well. But you know what? It's 3 points in the bag. Like we said, the first 45 minutes was dead. Once again, we keep getting played by every team in the league, apart from Southampton and Leeds. We keep getting played out the park, and it's worrisome. But at the same time, we keep getting the results, and we have the quality. I know I had in the last video that I had a conversation with my brother on live, and we were talking about. My brother kept saying, we just don't have the players. United doesn't have good enough players. But my argument has always been, we have decent enough players to play better football. You can't tell me we don't have better players than Brighton. We don't have better players than Crystal Palace. We don't have better players than West Brom, Fulham. The list goes on of the players that we have better players in those teams, but we just can't they seem to just play us out the park, even though they don't have the quality that we have, and that's how we're seeing games through. But for the most part, they're playing us out the park. So for me, that's where I still say that I think a more tactical coach will be able to guide this team in a better direction. We might not be second. That's hard to say if we'll be second or not. But I think most Manchester United fans would have a bit more confidence in our style of play, what to expect, and not just, just boring football, but we all know that at some point something's going to happen and we'll get the 3 points. Even in the first half when nothing was happening, it didn't look like we were going to score, 0 chances created in the first half, but I was still calm. I still knew that we could still do something. So, but anyways, guys, it's been fun. It's nice to see football finally back, especially after the international break. I usually don't mind the international break because I support France. So it's always nice to see France, Pogba back, Griezmann, Mbappe. It's always nice to see those guys. But this time around, I just wanted to kind of take a break from football and just relax and, just take a breather, because let's face it, we've been bombarded by so many games. I'm sure these players are also knackered. They're probably so tired, but it is what it is. They're getting paid, a mortgage a week is how I like to look at it. They get paid a mortgage a week, so they've got to suck it up and work through this. So anyways, guys, it's really been fun. I really appreciate those of you that have tuned in, those of you that have liked, those of you that keep supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, we'll be back again. Champions League, Europa League is back this week. So it's a lot coming through. And I'll probably be doing a bit more shows now because where I am in Canada, we're officially in lockdown. So for another month. So guess what? I have nothing better to do than record. And I love doing this. But sometimes when life kind of gets busy, it's not always feasible. But yeah, it's always nice to. I really appreciate everyone that's supporting. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. Go on the YouTube channel. Please click on the YouTube channel. Look at the other content. There's other content from other channels that are on there too. So just showing that I'm collaborating with other channels as well. So please tune into the YouTube channel. Help the subs, help the likes, and yeah, leave your comments. What do you think about the game today? Should Ole deserve another contract? Should he see the contract through? Leave your comments. I want to know how you guys are feeling about the club in general. But either way, it's been 3 points. It looks like we're literally a game or two away from securing top 4. But other than that, guys, it's been fun. Till next time, see you guys.